Hi, it's Gustavo Rossetti. The other day, after finishing a conference, a woman approached me. She was mad at me. I didn't know why at first, but then she told me she didn't like that I used Fidel Castro as an example. Funny thing, I used many examples of people that were resilient throughout their lives, but this woman didn't like that I used him because, well, he was a former revolutionary. And that made me realize that when we label others, it hinders our ability to grow. It's because we confuse the part with the whole. Even a fool can teach us wisdom. That's what today's video is all about. Learn from the people that you don't like. One of the most interesting and engaging workshops I facilitate, it's called Fighting the Enemies of Innovation. It's based on an 8-archetype model to help people understand how to overcome the attacks from those that get in their way. It's basically an innovation workshop, but I realize it touches a personal chord. Dealing with our enemies is not easy. The most important realization that people get is that they won't be able to change their enemies. It's them who need to adjust their own behaviors. The first thing that you need to keep in mind is to respect your enemy. I know, it's not easy. It requires courage. You need to be brave. Buddhist psychology believes that we're all born sane. Basically, that every human being is fundamentally good. So next time you're dealing with an enemy, what happens if you stop seeing that person as bad? Second, you need to become smarter than your enemies. It takes two to fight. Next time you're dealing with your enemy, pause and reflect. Reacting is always easy, but learning requires to stop. Learning requires an effort. Enemies keep you on your toes. How convinced are you about what you want to do, what you want to achieve? Enemies are always going to test your resilience and your focus. That's the good part about having enemies. If you can learn to use that as a way to stay on track. The fourth insight is that enemies are your best mirror. Why I'm saying this? Because most of the times we hate in others what we hate in ourselves. So practice empathy. Try to learn to walk in their shoes. When you open your mind, you're going to be able to understand theirs. Your enemies remind you of who you are. As Winston Churchill said, you have enemies? Good. That means you stood up for something sometime in your life. Your enemies are always going to challenge you, and that's why most people avoid those who think differently. But that's precisely what you need to listen to them rather than write them off. Be the first to know. Receive our insights for change makers. Subscribe at our website or our YouTube channel.